Hi everyone, Dr. Marco. This week's health tip, we're going to try to give you some tips to keep a healthy brain as you age. So we actually know that one of the most important things you can do is to keep physically active. So get your body up, get moving, stop sitting so much, walk, go for a walk, go for a swim, grab a rebounder, get up, bounce on a rebounder. If you don't have a rebounder, bounce up and down in your bed, why not? Nobody's looking, it'll be okay, you can do that. I'll give you permission. So a lot of physical movement, just the more you move your body, the more it's going to keep your brain stimulated and healthy. So we just know regular activity is just the standard thing, keeping yourself active as much as you can. The more physically active you are, the better your brain health is going to be. So that one's a no-brainer, so to speak. The second one is to keep your blood vessels really healthy. So I almost consider your blood vessels like another organ. We say like an organ is a bunch of cells all together collectively doing a certain function. Well, just think of your blood cells. They have an important function too, obviously, of transporting and being the container for your blood and your immune system cells and all the other things to be transported around your body. So, below the age of 40, they're nice and flexible and they got a lot of elasticity and that kind of stuff, and they're pretty strong. But as we're aging, a lot of different problems can come in with that. There's an amino acid that's normally pretty harmless that can come into your blood cells, and if you have high levels of this amino acid, it's a pretty bad indicator that your cardiovascular health is not going so well, and it's called homocysteine. So it's important that we have lower homocysteine levels. And it's going up because of all those different factors, the bad food, the bad diets, stress, lifestyle, lack of micronutrients, all those kind of things in our soils and things. The cells are kind of overworking and they're pumping out this byproduct that shouldn't really be in the blood that much. So homocysteine can have a lot of damaging effects on our body, and it's a bigger indicator for cardiovascular disease than the whole cholesterol myth. And so that's an important thing. You want to have that lowered. So one of the biggest sort of things that can help homocysteine is actually the vegetables. A lot of the leafy greens and stuff. A lot of the B vitamins have a really big impact on keeping your homocysteine levels down. And so the dark green leafy vegetables, they're a big factor in that. Sometimes the B12, you might want to be getting that from a good clean protein source as well. There's folate and different other B vitamins. Something called nutritional yeast. If you get good organic nutritional yeast from the health food store, that's sort of like a general broad spectrum. It has most of the B vitamins in there. So that's just something you could sprinkle on, your yogurt or foods you might be eating. You could just sprinkle it on a salad, even whatever, and that'll help get your B vitamins in there, and that'll be important for your blood vessel health. And actually, trying to avoid refined white salt, actually table salt. There's actually been some, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that because they basically strip real salt of most of its minerals, they're leaving only the sodium and the chloride, or they're adding potassium and chloride or whatever. They want to make it nice and perfect looking, so they fire it in a kiln, and sometimes that heating process can produce glass or little micro shards of glass. And so sometimes those little micro shards can be going in and causing little micro tears inside the inside lining of the blood vessels. And when there's damage to blood vessels, your body puts cholesterol there to heal the wound, and so that's where you're getting these cholesterol plaques on the inside of your blood vessels because of that. So that could be another thing to make sure you're avoiding. So you obviously want to be getting real salt. So there's a brand I've shown you hundreds of times of real salt. There's actually real salt, so that's what it's called. Or you can get Celtic sea salt, Himalayan crystal salts. Those are the ones that you can kind of look for. So those are real salts that that aren't processed or overproduced. Social activity is a really big one. Maintaining that connections between other people. They've actually found that is very important for brain health, actually. So the more we're connected with other people, the more our brain stays connected too, because dialogue, interaction, different people, different settings, it keeps your brain healthy. And there was actually, back in the 60s, I think there was a really isolated area in the United States of a bunch of people that had really low incidences of like heart attacks and cardiovascular disease and dementia and these kind of things. And an area where there was some people from Italy that had immigrated to the States, and they kept the same culture that they had in Italy there. So anytime there was a house to be built, they all got together to build the house, or whenever there was activities, they were always getting together all the time. And those people, independent of if they smoked or drank or did all the quote-unquote bad stuff, they actually had better health status than the rest of the United States when they did the comparative studies. And they found the biggest thing that made that difference was that social interaction, social connections. So another one, sleep. More and more important all the time. It's important that you have good, restful sleep, that it's not being disturbed. And there's a lot of factors. In some of my workshops here in the office, I've talked about a number of different things that we've sort of messed up our sleep now just because we have artificial lights. We have LEDs and all these things, our computers, our tablets, looking at screens all the time till late in the night. It's actually tricking our brain into thinking it's still daytime, and it's not producing the right sort of chemical changes for the melatonin and things to actually put you to sleep and give you restful sleep. So, you're not going to bed, you're not sleeping properly, and most of your body's regeneration, especially for your brain, the microglial cells that clean up the mess, they do that during your sleep. So it's really important to get proper sleep. Dark blinds in your rooms, get electronic things away from your head, away out of your room if possible. Try to shut off your Wi-Fi so that you're not getting bombarded with radiation, that kind of stuff. I also talk about grounding. So you can get we call it a grounding sheet or an earthing sheet on your bed or your pillow, because just having wires going through the walls where your head is, that can be producing radiation, like EMF fields and things that can be damaging. So if you go to my website, drmarcolikes.com, there's actually a tab you can click on that says earthing or grounding, and you can actually buy those products from the Canadian distributor there. So having optimal sleep is super important for a healthy brain as you get older. And then the last one is motion. So I'm not just talking about physical activity, this is a very specific motion, and I'm talking about the motion of your vertebrae, of the bones in your back. It's said that up to about 80 or 90% of the stimulation to your brain comes from movement of the spinal bones. So if you have spinal bones that are stuck out of place, they're subluxated, we call it in chiropractic, they're not moving properly, that's sending less stimulation to the brain, and your brain cells are actually getting stimulated less because of that lack of motion. So obviously sitting for long periods of time is not good. We know that more than 3 hours of sitting, we almost consider that a trauma to the spine, and it's sending less stimulation up to the brain. So when people are getting into the standing desks and those kind of things, which are really important, just keeping yourself upright. But it's important that all the bones in your back are moving freely too. So if we have 24 bones in our back, that should be moving like this. And over the course of our life, we've had falls, traumas, emotional stress, physical stress, chemical stress that's actually caused areas of our spine to not move anymore. So instead of doing this, that would be 90% massive stimulation coming up to the brain. We're just doing this as we're trying to move around during our day-to-day lives. So it's really, really important to get all the bones in your spine, analyze, assess to see if they're moving, and if they're not moving properly, you want to get the proper chiropractic care to make sure that they're all moving freely during your day-to-day activities. That can keep your brain healthy too. That's the biggest blind spot in people's health when they're trying to take care of their brain, because people don't know about that. And especially the first two bones, they move more than any of the other ones, so it's important that the top two move properly. And as you would know, as I've mentioned in a lot of my other videos, just the birth process, it's pretty common. Doctors pull on babies' heads right from when they're born, and that can often misalign one of the first two bones in the neck. And if they're off like that, not working properly, other than causing a lot of physical and problems with the intestinal system, the digestion and everything, the first 2 years of life are really important for how your brain develops, how that sets you up for the rest of your life. So if you're already getting aberrant signals coming in from your spinal cord because one side isn't moving as well as the other, that's really not setting your kids up for a good sort of long-term status. So that's why every child should be getting checked as soon as they're born, and checked regularly as they go through life too. And then, of course, as you get older, you want to keep your spine healthy as well. So that's why regular chiropractic care is helpful for every person, because it keeps the spine moving properly, and that helps stimulate your brain. So that's your health tip for this week. So take action. If you're not under chiropractic care, if you'd like to get some light care from the way we do it in our office with the network spinal analysis, give us a call, check out the videos on our website, and we'd like to hear from you. And if you like this video, please share it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.